In this video, I want to review some of the basic concepts of views and dimensioning. It's hopefully a review of stuff from CAD 1. So I'll use this part right here, which is the one that was on page 634 of your book. So first of all, choosing views. Remember, the front view should show the most information, fewest hidden lines, and also the longest dimension should be placed horizontally on the drawing page. The paper is longer this way, so put the long dimension here. Don't try to balance your view so that the long dimension goes up. And also pay attention to what that choice of front view does to your other views. So when you look at the view palette, remember, you're not stuck with these options. You can always change it. If you don't like what you see, go back to your model, and let's say what I want is for this to be the front view. So let's line that up. I'll click on that, so now that's a perfect ortho view. Go back to your view palette and click on this refresh button. And if none of these other views work for you, you can come down here where it says current and you can drag that out, and that can be your front view. So that's an easy way to get to where you want. Remember, most information, fewest hidden lines, longest dimension, those three things. So that's a pretty good front view. I think there's a couple of ways to go with this one. Now the other thing is with your isometric. What does your isometric view look like? You're not stuck with that isometric view. Now that's a pretty good one. It's a stable view of the part. It also shows a lot of information, but if I don't like that, you can delete that view, come back to your view palette, and again, try to find something here that works. If you don't like any of these, just go back to your model and get this into the place that you like. You see exactly what you want. You can see as much information. Quite a few people gave me a view that looks something like this, which is a terrible view. It shows you very little information. It's almost like you're trying to hide the object from me. So orient that the way you want it. Then just go back to your drawing sheet. Open up your view palette. Again, don't forget to refresh it. And come down here to current and drag down, and you get exactly what you want. You're not stuck with something. Okay, another thing is you always need to show hidden lines. So make sure your hidden lines are shown on your isometric views, not on your ortho. If your hidden lines show up on your, on your orthos, make sure you have, but on your ISO, make sure you don't have hidden, so you can turn off the hiddens on there. Likewise, center lines and so forth, you shouldn't see those. This drawing presents a couple of extra things that we don't see all the time, and that is you've got all these tangent edges. We talked about tangent edges. So for example, what is that line right there? It's very confusing because it looks like it should be a corner, but if you come over, you don't see anything. It's because it's showing you that intersection between that arc and that straight line. So according to the software, that's an edge. We don't want to see that. Also, a lot of these hidden lines, same thing up here. I will need to show the edge of that hole, which will be there, and I'll need to show the edge of that hole, which is going to be the hidden line there. But what is that object line? Again, that's that intersection line there of the tangent point, and that's a tangent point. So a couple things you can do. You can hide them all, but the easiest way to do it is just right-click on a view and go to where it says tangent edge, and click on tangent edge remove, and that'll take them away. Okay. So do the same thing on your other views. This one in particular has got a lot of tangent edges. Those are very confusing on your drawing. See how much clearer that looks? Don't know how many are really on this view, but let's just go for it. Yeah, a couple of those. Right? Adds a lot of clarity to remove those things. Now what is that hidden line? That hidden line is actually the bottom of the part right there. That's that corner. So if you don't like that one, because we're going to need to have a center mark there, you can come up here and hide that, and that way when we put our center marks, put our center lines and center marks. And that's the other thing, you always want to make sure you have all your center lines shown. You can manually do them, you can use that auto function on there. Okay, so that looks pretty good so far. Now in terms of dimensioning, some basic rules, which again I'm kind of assuming you learned some of this stuff in CAD 1. One is don't crowd the part. The other is don't put them too far away. You got to find kind of that sweet spot where it makes good sense for the dimension, where you have a little bit of room. You know, the kind of the rule of thumb is whatever this width here, you should have that kind of space within reason. I'm not going to be that picky about it. So think about that when you have subsequent dimensions. Leave a little bit of space between them. One thing some people are doing is dimensioning to hidden lines. You absolutely cannot dimension to hidden lines. Now the software will certainly let you do it. Now this dimension makes no sense, but the software would let you do something like that. It doesn't make any sense for the part, but you don't dimension to hidden lines. Find a place on one of these views where the feature you're trying to dimension shows up as an object line. If it doesn't show up as an object line, you probably need an additional view. Remember, don't dimension to hidden lines. The other thing is don't dimension on the part, and I find that particularly troubling when people have angles because they're not sure what to do with the angle. So I see this pretty often. It's not okay to dimension on the part like that. You find somewhere else to do it. In order to dimension an angle, you need to click on the angled surface and either a horizontal or vertical line, and then you have a lot of freedom as to where you want to go with that dimension. And find something that makes sense. Like that's a perfect way to call out that dimension. That angle is kind of a silly angle, but if I wanted to, that's a perfect way to do that. Again, not on the part. It's tempting sometimes, I know, especially with, you know, like these diameters. I see this frequently when people are trying to learn how to do this as not correct. All you got to do is take that dimension and pull it outside the part. Now be careful with those leader lines. When you're bringing leader lines out, again, I see this sometimes where people do things like this, which seems pretty innocent, but see, you create this weird intersection right there. Not only that, but that leader line is not even on a diagonal. That's another rule, and that is that leader line should always be on an angle. So you have a lot of freedom with these. So pay attention to making, again, add clarity when you're putting your dimensions on the drawing. You're not, you don't want to add confusion with a dimension by creating a false corner or something like that. Okay, those are just some basics. Hopefully that'll help you with your dimensioning practices, your layouts in terms of views. Again, the front view is the most important view. This will be a really poor front view. It shows me very little detail about the part. It's important for us as the overall picture, but this really gives us the best view, and you have total control over what views you choose. If you don't like the views, you can certainly delete them and start over. Now remember, these views have to be tied together. This top view is a projection up from the front. This right side is a projection over from the front. So the key is choosing the proper front view, then the other views will fit together. If you think you have a good front view, but then you get a bad looking side view or top view, then I would just come back, redo the front view to something that's better. It's not that difficult. Don't wait until you have all your dimensions on there though, because it does end up causing you to redo a lot of work. So hopefully that will help you with your drawing layouts and your dimensions.